In times of struggle, we must remember those who carve their own path. The convention smashers, the trend setters, the zeitgeist Baumeisters. Those who uninstall Google Maps from their phone and say, "What the hell, let's throw caution to the wind and take a chance on Apple Maps." They are the Faces of Virtue! Greetings and welcomes, listeners, to the last in this series of Etudes in the Key of Kindness. Throughout this run of episodes, I've striven to find the last spark of human compassion and magnanimity that hasn't yet been obliterated by free market capitalism and made in Chelsea, with mixed results. Can this last interview subject buck the trend and show us the way forward to a kinder, more virtuous future? I know already, obviously, because I've already done the interview and I'm recording this introduction later. But for you to find out, you'll have to listen to the rest of this episode, where I speak to theatre maker Honey Dexley Craven Smith, who hopes that her latest venture, a new performance space called Concept, can engage her community and make creative expression accessible to everyone in the Hampstead area. Many thanks to Susan Harrison for putting us in touch with Honey. Hello, Honey Dexley Craven Smith. It's so nice to meet you.
Hi, yeah, do you know what? I'm actually really humbled to meet you, Tom. Thank you.
Oh, you're aware of my work then?
No, but I just feel very sort of humbled when I'm in the presence of any other human, particularly someone who cares about me and my work.
Yeah, well, I really do, and thank you. I mean, I'd say I care about the arts and also about people trying to create things generally. Rather than saying specifically. No, but I do respect. I don't know much about your work yet, but I'm sure that once I do, I will. So let's assume that is the case, and that you should feel humbled. Yeah,
let's assume that, but also let's kind of do away with assumptions to a certain degree.
Right.
I think I just want you to feel like you can be vulnerable in this space. And if you don't like my work when you've heard about it, I'm cool with you sort of expressing that however you want to express that.
Okay, but I mean, are you sure? Just because there's times, we've all had those experiences, haven't we, when you go and see a friend's show or look at their artwork, whatever it might be. And if they say, please be completely honest. And then you say something like, I think possibly there could be more contrast in that, part of the painting. They never speak to you again. And so I'm just, is this a genuine, please be honest, or is this a kind of your standard, just give me praise, please be honest?
Thank you for putting that out there. I think it's really good that we question literally everything. But this is, authentic. I'm an authentic artist. This is authentic from me to you. Okay,
thank
great.
you. All right, well,
I'm glad we've got that sorted.
Yes, no, we have now. Thank you, and I'll do my best. I'll do my best to be as forthright as possible. You said we should question literally everything, I think were your words.
I feel like there is so much white noise going on at the moment, in the world, in the country, even in our own psyches. So for me, the art that we make as makers needs to be just one long series of questions with no answer to reflect.
With no answer?
Yeah, to reflect the state of the world and how we actually are living as these beings that are just a question mark. I look at you and I don't see a face, I see a question mark.
Sorry, is there something wrong with the camera? Because, the trouble. The video conferencing software can be a bit tricky sometimes. I think I'm coming. You still can't see my face?
Yeah, no, it's all right. I get you're maybe just a bit more literal than I am. But because I see things.
You can literally see my face, though?
Yeah.
Your interpretation is such a huge part of the creation of art. Some people would argue that, the process never ends because new people see the work all the time. So, the artist's work is never done in that sense. Would you agree with that?
I would. And thank you for that. That was a really nice summing up of how we experience the work and the art and the theatre. Thank you.
You're thanking me a lot every time I ask a question. And I appreciate that. I mean, because most people, you ask them a question, they don't thank you for asking it. And, as an interviewer, that can get quite frustrating because you think, all right, mate, I have thought about these questions and I have taken the time to ask them. So I appreciate that. But I'm just a little concerned that only a few minutes into the interview here, the thanks are overriding a lot of the answers to the questions. For example, in that last, I actually couldn't detect any answer whatsoever. Only thanks.
Well, thank you for that.
Right. So, honey, you are an artist and a theatre maker, I understand.
That's right. Yeah, I'm pretty fresh. I'm pretty
No, thank you that time, but okay, fine.
I'm sorry, what?
She didn't thank me for that one, but that's fine.
Wow.
No, don't worry. I've come to expect it now.
Wow. There's a lot of hostile energy coming from you, but
right.
I don't know. I feel like that's good. I feel like you're opening up. I feel like the vulnerability is becoming a bit more apparent. And maybe this is something we can explore in your one-person show.
My one-person show?
Yeah, I mean, I am open to that. Send me an application and we
No, but
can
you said
talk.
it. You suggested it. No, but you suggested it.
Yeah.
You invited me to do a one-person show, and now you're saying I have to fill in an application.
Like everyone, all the artists, if we haven't worked with them before, the artists that come to the venue, there is an application process, but that's part of it,
So talking about that space, what's the name of your new venue?
So, thank you. The name of the new venue is Concept, and it really is just that. It's like a space for exploring concepts, a space to make the work, create the work, see the work, eat, drink, imbibe the work, smell the work, feel the work, be the work in many cases.
Okay.
For those of us who sort of embody our own practice. And it really is as interdisciplinary as you can imagine, Tom, and I'm sure you can imagine it really vividly.
I am at the moment. As I say, I felt like maybe we started off on the wrong foot. But the more I hear you talk about this, the more it sounds really liberating creatively. I mean, I'm doing these interviews. I'm speaking to people, remotely. Here now, we're speaking over some video conferencing software, which we had a bit of trouble with earlier, but we're past that now. And you can feel quite sort of lonely, and the creative process is all very internal and just happening, just between you and your computer, really. But it sounds like this is a really kind of holistic space where every part of the process is represented.
Oh, yeah. And thank you for using the word holistic. That is
thank you for thanking me as well.
Oh, well, thank you for thanking me for thanking you, really.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. It really is a holistic space, and it may not be very large in terms of the physical confines of the structure.
How large are we talking?
Well, it's actually extremely intimate, Tom. It's very small, and I think that adds to the intensity. I'd say it's about the size of half an average sitting room. Do you know what I mean by that?
Okay, so we're kind of talking about gazebo size, really, like we're in the gazebo zone.
Slightly a smidge smaller than a gazebo. I like that.
Okay.
I like that way of measuring. Yeah, like that.
So you got a gazebo or possibly a sort of a veranda sort of
Yeah,
type.
I'd say it's like a bit larger than a veranda, smaller than a large gazebo. And it really is an interesting space. It's full of light, a lot of light.
So kind of a gazebo kind of scale.
Yeah, I love that.
Or a gazander.
A gazander. Do you know what? We are inventing a whole new system of measurement here.
Yeah,
and that's,
we are. Wow.
That's a beautiful thing. You can use that. My hope was always that it would be an outlet for like all kinds of different community members to like create and come here. And I don't charge the artists much at all.
Right. So let's say I wanted to bring, who knows? Oh, the options just seem infinite all of a sudden. You know, like I could bring a live interview for a Faces of Virtue feature, or I could do do a live recording of a Crowley time, or possibly just like take all my clothes off and just roll around. Like I don't know. It could be anything, really, couldn't it? Anything that one.
That
right.
one.
Well, I imagine maybe I could. Paint myself with images of leaves and quite arboreal images, maybe a seed drill and possibly a silo or something. Yeah, this is. Oh, I feel really this is really speaking to me, honey. Thank you, and I appreciate you as well. But wow. So what kinds of things have you already had on? I mean, is this in keeping with the sort of stuff you've had on?
Oh my gosh, it is so in keeping. We have had. I mean, the theme of nature. Like I loved how you mentioned leaves. The theme of nature
and
really,
seed drills.
And seed drills, importantly, like that, harking back to the land, to a previous time, which...
Yeah, like a combine harvester or something.
Yes.
Sorry, no, I'm interrupting. Carry on.
No, I love that.
Thank you, sorry.
I love it, like unpack it, explore it. But yeah, we've had a lot of people influenced by nature. There's something about the venue that leads people to sort of creating... pieces in association with tomatoes, for example, or like
wow, why is that? Why do you think
I don't know. I think perhaps because nature kind of infiltrates the space. We do have some plants within the space, and we can see plants and nature from outside because of all the glass, hence the light. I mean, it is a beautiful, beautiful environment from which to create, and only
it's a glass venue.
It's entirely
glass. That's genius, because then you're not doing the typical thing, putting up walls and velvet ropes and ticket takers. You're saying no, look in. Yeah, incredible. So you have a sort of a glass gazebo. Yeah. And it's sorry, we didn't cover this. Where is it exactly?
Oh yes, so it's in a little bit of London, sort of on the Hampstead. Well, it's Hampstead. It's in Hampstead in London. So we've got all kinds of walks of life of the London great and good, as I call them. Which basically, by that I just mean anyone in the community is welcome.
This is the great thing about this whole process: is it is holistic and it's organically emerging, and so and that's why it's so great that you don't charge people for doing their shows at your venue,
not much,
because then. What, sorry?
Yeah, not much. It's like a little token gesture, and that is all. Because
you have to cover insurance and things, I guess, as well. So what are we talking about? Like a 50 quid to...
So like we'll do well, it really depends on like whether it's a weeknight, whether it's the weekend.
Okay.
But we can do you a good deal. Like, and also it depends whether I
feel like this show's a real like Thursday. You know what I mean? I feel like this is a real Thursday piece.
I was thinking the same.
So maybe all the Thursdays in a month, could I book that maybe out?
Probably
is that possible?
Not like all the Thursdays in a month, because there's other...
Okay.
The thing is about this flexible space is that it also has other uses for the community, like... So I sometimes need to check with the other members of the immediate community who may need to use it. Of course,
it's going to be communal, isn't it? It's not just you, the tyrant, running the whole thing, is it?
Exactly,
no, you need to welcome other people into your leadership style, of course. So who else are you talking to on a regular basis?
So like I'm talking to like the couple who are older generation than me, and
right, wow, okay.
There's a man and a woman, and I know them pretty well, and sometimes they will be like doing a book group.
How long have you known them?
Or, like my whole life, and
Right,
so I'm
really?
like,
you must be very close.
Like I was just in a fortunate position where I've lived with them, and I've stayed with them.
You live with them?
Yeah, so that's just like fortunate, but I'm big enough to like own that privilege and say, yeah, I'm fortunate.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, and good and thank you for accepting that privilege.
No, thank you.
So you know this couple your entire life? Like they almost sound like they're your parents.
Yeah, I mean, like that's one way of looking at it. It's yes,
that they are your parents.
Well, yeah, technically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Mr. and
technically,
Mrs.
but
Smith.
Well, yeah. And like when I was doing my training, we had a very interesting experience with guided meditation.
Wow. I've never done guided meditation. Is it a bit like Inception?
I mean, in a way, yeah.
Wow.
Do you want to do some now?
Let's do some now.
Okay,
yeah. Does it
now.
work over the internet?
Let's try it. Like there are no yes or no's. I don't like to answer yes or no to anything. As you know, I'd prefer everything to be a question. So let's have this.
That's right.
Will it work?
So like, thank you, but like, thank you?
I know, like, but thank you.
But I appreciate that.
Okay.
So how do we get into it? How do we start the process?
First of all, I want you to take a big old deep breath in and imagine that you're holding my hands while you're doing that.
Yeah. I'm trying to picture that. Yeah, I think I've got it. Okay.
Yeah. I would advise.
How large are your hands? Are we talking sort of average or particularly large or smaller than average?
They're average.
Average hands, okay.
Do you know what? I measured them and they were exactly average.
They're the exact median average. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Now, Tom, I don't want to tell you like how to do your stuff, but I would advise that when I'm telling you to breathe in, you don't talk. So let's try that again. No, that's okay.
Okay. No, not yet. Okay. In now?
Oh, wow. Yeah. Like breathing in. 1, 2, 3. Okay. All right. This is interesting. You can release the breath. You can release the breath. Wow. Do you know what?
I think this is going really well. I feel really relaxed. But tell me about your relationship with your parents, because as you say, they're still very involved in your process.
Yeah, they are involved in my process. In fact, if you were to come to Concept on a Friday night, I can't guarantee that they won't be there.
Right,
like
so they might be there.
Piece. They might be in the piece.
What piece are you working on currently? What would they be intruding, if you can describe it even?
Oh, I probably can't, but I'll have a go.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. As you probably know, because like hopefully you've done your research. But I actually started off as a singer-songwriter in my teens. You know, just like humbly chipping away in my bedroom, uploading stuff to YouTube. You know, from my bedroom/home studio, and like hoping for the best, just sending it out there.
So home studio
it got out there.
You had the home studio already set up and.
Yeah, that was just a little thing that for my 15th birthday, it was a very sweet gesture from the two people that I live with.
Right.
And so, so in my current work, I am trying.
Honey Smith.
That's right. Yeah.
I remember that song that you did. You're Honey Smith who did the song, Feel It in the Club.
That's right, yeah.
Feel It in the Club,
so
that's
cute
it.
that you remember that.
Yeah, no, I
my
do.
Style
it was huge. It went to number 1, didn't it, for like a week?
Yeah, I just got it, like, that's fine that you've brought that up. I don't mind at all.
Feel it in the club.
That's why we want it now, now, now. Now, 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 now. Feel it in the club. Now, now, now. Now, 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 now. Feel it in the club.
Yeah, that was you. I remember that. Oh, it was so funny. I was at university around then, and I remember we there was always like a cheesy disco on the Wednesday night, and we'd go out, and that would come on, and people would be like, you know, they do that thing where when the song that everyone actually hates, but it's sort of catchy, they remember it, they all go like, but they start dancing, you know, enthusiastically, even though they actually. You know, it makes them feel a bit sick, but like...
Okay, well, I'm just going to stop you there, Tom, because actually my style has dramatically changed.
Oh, yeah, and of course.
Okay, but it feels like a bit of a verbal assault, what you've just done.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It feels like, well, it's okay, like I'm totally fine and like totally at peace with my previous identity, but like... Yeah. You kind of threw in the word cheesy there, and from your position of privilege, like that's an easy word to throw. But from me as an oppressed person, i.e. a woman, like I don't know how well I sit with you doing that. Okay,
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do that at all. I mean, it comes from a place of love. I promise. I mean, you know, we would, you know, in certain ways, we would say out loud that we liked your music.
Yeah, and you used that
he's
that
so
abusive
dreamy,
language,
like,
cheesy.
He's so dreamy, like he's my history teacher, Mr. Anderson. That was a really good one as well. I remember that. And there was the video, and you were sort of like, it was all pink haze, and at the end of the video, you're slipping a sort of little note into the teacher's briefcase at the end of the lesson. Oh, it was so good. It was really funny.
Did you know what? I'm just going to stop you there because, like, as I was trying to say, My style has like dramatically changed.
Sorry, yes,
to
no-
like an epic degree. And for me, you're talking about like my previous artistic incarnation, and I
Yeah.
have waved goodbye to that
Oh, okay,
long,
okay.
long time ago.
Well, I think
And,
that's a shame,
like,
but I appreciate your I appreciate you firstly, and I also appreciate your right to decide how you want to present yourself artistically.
yeah, thank you. And I don't need like your permission to do that, but also thank you for giving me your permission to do that. But I
But I
don't
wasn't
need
giving
it.
you permission. I was just appreciating your right that you already innately have, because I wouldn't want to exercise my privilege in that way.
Okay, well, I appreciate that.
Although it feels a bit
So,
privileged,
yeah.
if you'll forgive me, it feels slightly privileged for you to, in hindsight, adapt your interpretation of what our conversation was into a fact based on your own position of privilege as the person who is receiving my conversation.
Well, your use of the word fact there, I found quite alarming because
Right.
really, what are facts if not concepts, and what are concepts if not questions?
Wow.
Right?
So, I mean, wow.
Exactly.
So you say your work's changed a lot, and I'm so excited to hear more about it, you know, because I feel
Great.
like I'm really in on the ground floor of this now.
Yeah.
So what is your work like now? Have you written any more songs lately?
Yeah, I totally have. And like,
Right,
so,
right.
this was in answer to your question a long, long time ago now,
Okay.
probably like 8 minutes ago, with
Wow,
which you
really?
said in which
Wow.
you said like, what are you working on now? I'm working on a performance piece, which is a solo work using dance movement, extreme sounds, but also infiltrated with Romani-inspired folk songs.
Romani
And that
inspired.
is
Now that's
where
interesting
I'm
because
going.
we talked a lot about a privilege and about exercising that privilege. Do you have any Romani ancestry yourself, honey?
I mean, not technically,
Okay.
but like, who's to know? Like, maybe
But
I
what are
haven't
facts
really
if not concepts?
checked. Exactly. That's quite powerful, actually, in terms of the dialogue that you and I have had as artists
Yeah.
from like totally different walks of life,
Well,
totally different.
I also
like,
grew up in North
so
London,
different.
just to be. I grew up in East Finchley, so it's not that far from Hampstead. If anything, it's a bit less of a well-heeled area than Hampstead, if
well,
anything. So
I mean, it's subjective, but
I mean,
yeah,
well, I
mean,
think
sure,
you
we can talk
find
about
graphs
that.
of, the average income and also, I mean, just use your eyes and look at the sizes of the houses in those regions. And I just think that possibly, and
I mean-
even if we go back sort of quite a way, post-war, it's quite a working class area. East Finchley, it's a bit posher now, but Hampstead's always been, the dream is to end up somewhere in Hampstead, in some sort of mansion. I mean, what is the actual technical definition of where you live? Where do you live? Do you live near the venue?
Yeah, like, so it's a really interesting artistic device, actually, where I live sort of incredibly near the venue,
Right.
like a matter of meters away.
Really? So you sort of live in the venue almost. I mean,
Almost. I mean, like, the venue is more of a kind of, well, it's such an interesting structure. It's like a kind of outdoor-indoor space. And so,
outdoor
I'm
well,
so
with the glass,
excited.
I can imagine it
with the
feels quite
glass.
close to the outdoors. Is every surface,
Yeah.
it's all entirely glass encased?
It's entirely glass encased.
Right, okay.
And that is why when I bring my piece there next Friday,
Yes.
I am going to be singing one of my new works,
Right,
which
okay.
is entirely glass.
The work
It's like
is
a kind of-
glass.
Well, in a way, yes, but
Can you
also the
sing
title of the
glass?
song. That's what I'm going to try and do. It's
Wow.
like an ancient folk dirge ruminating on the quality of glass.
Right. Can you give us a quick extract from this? Just a sense
Yeah,
of what it's going to be
sure.
like?
I'll just see if
Paint
I can.
a picture
yeah,
for us.
and like-
What's the costume?
Oh, I see,
Describe
yeah,
the
sure.
environment that we're going to be in.
Yeah.
Because this is an audio medium. It's so immersive. People always say it, and I think it never gets old, saying over and over again how immersive the audio medium is, and that it's the most it can aspire to be is immersive. And I think if we say immersive as often as we can, people will finally start to respect radio in the 21st century. So immerse us in
Yes.
the audio version of this show, if you would, please.
I would, and on what you've just said, please
Yeah.
may we join hands and
Oh,
chant
again.
immersive 3
And you said
times.
these are quite average size hands, you said.
Average size hands.
Exactly
Here we go.
average. Okay.
Exactly average.
Okay.
And now we're going to chant
Okay.
immersive.
Immersive.
Thank you. So what I'll be wearing on the... You can breathe normally now, Tom. Thank you for entering into that.
So I feel so immersed at the moment. It really is. This is... Oh, my God. This is even more... incredible. This is... Wow. Sorry, carry on.
That's all right. You're welcome. So here we are. It's the night of the performance. The stars are twinkling outside. You can see those stars
They're so
because
beautiful.
the walls of the venue are glass.
Oh.
There is just a little cardboard sign saying concept between the... You could call it a kitchen area and the venue. Concept, it says, and you lead yourself through and you sit down. You're surrounded by tomato plants and pots with seedlings in, and
there's soil on my jeans.
Yeah. I come in and I'm wearing plastic sheeting covering me, and I have a umbrella which some say is bad luck to open indoors. I say,
yes, they do. Screw
the bad luck. Let's welcome that bad luck.
Yeah.
And then comes a little bit of a dirge here.
Yeah.
And it goes like this.
Can you hear that Romany influence coming in?
Glass.
Oh.
Transparency. And the more you listen, the more you see. Glass. Thank you.
Wow. Oh. Sorry, can I just say, honey, I think I'm meditating.
Oh my God.
My mind feels completely vacant at the moment. I feel completely empty, like a shell of a person, and I'm thinking of nothing. Am I meditating now?
You are meditating. I'm so proud of you right now.
Oh.
Tom, I'm so proud of you, and I'm so proud that we are starting this artistic journey together. This is amazing. Sorry, 1 second. Sorry, just bear with me.
Yeah.
What? Dad, I'm recording! Dad, I told you about this already! We had it marked in the calendar! I'm so sorry.
Is everything okay? Sorry, I felt there was a little something just trying to intrude on my mental space there while I was in this meditation state. I'm a bit frightened now. How do you leave the meditation state? Sorry.
Oh, no, that's okay. Do you want me to count you out of it?
If you could bring me out, because I feel like I'm starting to sort of see my ancestors coming at me from the horizon, and it's getting a bit intimidating, to be honest.
Well, who are those ancestors?
Oh,
let's see if they've got
they're all
messages for
wearing
you.
sacks, and they're covered in filth, and one of them's milking a goat, and another one is shearing a sheep, and another one just seems to be moving one pile of droppings from one side of a field to another, and then back again. I don't. This is my clay. These are my people. This is my origin. Oh, wow. And there's like a duke over there, I think. But most of them, one of them is appears to have very, very dishevelled in appearance and just rolling around in some of the piles of feces left by the other ancestor. And there's a chimp. Wow, this is... I'm having a full immersive sensory experience here. Good Lord. Can you... Oh, good, they're getting quite close, and their fingers are getting into my eyes, and it's quite painful now, actually. Honey, can you help me? Get me out of the meditative state, please, because...
Counting you out. 5, 4,
Uncle Stephen.
3, 2, 1.
Okay,
and you're back.
I'm back.
Wow.
Wow, that was something else. That was really incredible. I did. There was something going on in there, in that field of history and ancestry and the seed from which I emerged. I thought I heard a word, Dad. Dad, I'm recording. There was something coming in, intruding on that space. There was what?
Yeah.
Did you say something during?
Do you think it could have been one of your own ancestors, your father, your forefathers? Sorry. I told you! We were booked in Thursday,
there it is
Friday,
again. What is that, honey? What's going on? There did seem to be some conflict going on there. Is everything all right for you to continue recording this? Because I'd hate us to have to cut this off early.
Yeah, no, it's totally fine. It's just sometimes the other people that live in the house with me that also sort of have use of the venue because, as you said, it's communal. It's a community thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes they like to claim ownership over it. Weirdly,
Wow, that's so
that
colonial.
does mean that. Yeah, I know. So it does mean that sadly we are going to have to postpone performances in there for the next 2 months.
Oh, but I felt like I really, with the paintings of the seed drills and all the arable patterns on my hairy body, I felt like I really connected to the sort of what I would call screeching filth people of my ancestry there in that transcendental state. And I really want to. So what's the issue? Maybe we can resolve this now here in the interview. Is that what's these people? Your parents, you could call them, that they have a sort of a sense of ownership over your venue. Do you have any idea why that might be?
Well, I suppose technically it's because it's within their home environment. So
Right.
but I'm very fluid about that. But so technically,
So
maybe you can help me.
It's a gazebo in your parents' house.
Yeah, I mean, gazebo is a beautiful word that you've created, but it is.
It is my word, yes. How would you describe it?
I mean, it's kind of like I suppose another layman's term might be a greenhouse, but essentially it is a
greenhouse.
venue.
Attached to their house, like a sort of extension.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like, again, we're getting back to literal terms, but
It's quite literal,
sure, if you want to be
sorry about
literal.
that. But I mean,
It's okay.
but if we're talking literally just for, again, sometimes you need a definitive answer, and the definitive answer here is it's your parents' greenhouse.
Yeah.
So you're in, I'm going to guess, sort of suburban Hampstead in a greenhouse.
Yeah. I mean, that is the reality. If you wanna tie it down to reality, that is the reality of the situation.
Okay. Sorry, I'm getting a bit of a new perspective on this now. So you're in your parents' greenhouse, singing Romany-inspired songs. But these are people you invite to participate for free, right? It's all very open and holistic, and maybe it's possibly a great platform for you to invite some of the less fortunate people from the Hampstead area and its environs to come and engage in the work, right? That's the impression I had.
That's a great impression. I mean, the neighbors sometimes come, and last time we had some really great.
The neighbors.
We had
Who are the neighbors? Sorry, can you describe?
Producers of the neighbors. They one of them was like an exec producer on Doctors, and another one is like a freelance casting director. So it's a beautiful thing because we have people from all corners of the arts, and then of course my agent.
Your agent, okay. Who are you with?
I'm with Macaulay and Flockmeister.
Okay. They're huge.
Yeah, I consider myself blessed.
Do you get much work?
Not yet, but I feel like it's early days for me.
Right.
I'm just beginning, and I didn't want to rely too much on my mum's sort of reputation as a screenwriter. So I'm sure at some point I will, but I didn't want to go straight to that, if that makes sense to you as a fellow artist.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think I understand. Sorry, just gonna, excuse me, if I could just gonna bring up the concept website here.
Yeah.
1 second. Okay. Here it describes. Oh, now that I look at the splash image on the landing page, I can see it is a greenhouse. I thought that was sort of just an abstract image of like some glass, but looking again, I can see it's a view from within a greenhouse, looking up at. In fact, I think that might be your bedroom window. There's a One Direction poster in it. I think that's One Direction anyway.
I need to change that. But I'm not ashamed of who I used to be.
You seemed a bit ashamed of it earlier.
I know. I knew you were going to say that, but I feel like now, where is the Tom that I knew 15 minutes ago? Now you've got this little hostile suit of armor on, and it's making me sad. Well, that's maybe,
but again, I think we need to possibly land on a few more definite answers, as we have done at times and found quite productive during this conversation. So here it describes concept as a bold, brave, creative venture in the spirit of community action. But what that boldness and braveness appears to be is a very rich young woman living in her parents' house performing culturally appropriative shows exclusively for people working in the entertainment industry?
I think I might have to go now. And,
Okay. Right. No, please
I think
don't.
I would like I would like a full transcript of this interview.
Well, I'm not going to do
thought,
that. That would take
you are
ages.
going to have to do that if my dad's friend is a big lawyer. And,
just please understand my position here, honey. I'm really sorry because
no, it's okay.
I in this show I try to find people that are making a genuine difference in the world.
Yeah.
And sometimes, you do. Sometimes you find people who, no matter how flawed their efforts may be, they really are trying to give something of themselves to other people to make the world a better place. And it would really just help me at this moment, because I'm starting to lose faith in this entire venture. If you could tell me in what way what you're doing has in any way benefited somebody less fortunate than yourself.
Yeah, no, I totally
anything.
can. I can do that, and I will, and I definitely will. This has benefited my fellow grad,
Right.
Saskia Humpton, who
Humpton, right.
her attendance,
She's in that new Sky show, isn't she? She's the lead in that new
exactly,
police thing.
and she would not have got that lead part if she had not attended and met with my agent.
Well, her dad is the producer as well, but sure,
well,
okay.
every little helps.
Well, that's Saskia. Anyone else at all? Anyone else you can think of who might have benefited?
I mean, retirement can be a lonely time, and
Let's narrow
our
this
neighbours.
down. Anyone who wasn't privately educated?
No.
Right. Well, it's been a mixed experience. This for me, I have to be honest. I feel like I accessed quite a sort of transcendental meditative state where I was communicating with my own ancestors for a time. There.
You're welcome.
No, thank you for that.
You're
although,
welcome.
Thinking back, it's possible that I was just getting oxygen deprivation from not being sure how to breathe anymore. I feel like over the course of this conversation, I've gone from feeling more inspired than ever in my creative and social endeavors to completely losing faith in everything I hold dear. Sorry.
Thank you.
In everything I hold dear?
Thank you.
Thank you. Well,
I appreciate your honesty.
I suppose there is one thing, which is that we have at last reached that fabled state where, putting aside any consideration to politeness or ego, we have been completely honest with each other. And maybe even though all nobility and generosity has left the world of human existence, at least there's that.
There's always that.
Honey, Dexley Craven Smith, thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye? No, bye.
Bye. Bye.
Yeah, you know it. History, like facts. And I love you. I guess that's a fact. He's so dreamy like, he's so dreamy like, he's my history teacher, Mr. Anderson. He's so erudite, he's so out of sight. He's my history teacher, Mr. Anderson. And the only homework I'll do is to dream all night about you, Mr. Anderson, Mr. Anderson. You're my history teacher, Mr. Anderson.
As you could probably hear, I ended my conversation with Honey disheartened. Is my quest completely pointless? Are there any truly virtuous faces left in human society for me to find? Or is every ostensibly good person just a self-serving wanker, dressing up their cynical brand management as righteousness? I bought a bag of chocolate raisins and stood by the river, disconsolately posting them into my mouth, one after the other, like wrinkly little parcels, as steady and ceaseless as the waters that flowed past, until the bag was empty. Later, due to the excessive amounts of dried fruit and sugar, I suffered a bout of the steady and ceaseless shits. But after leaving the bathroom, thinking twice, racing immediately back in and leaving again after 20 more minutes, I felt revived. I felt completely emptied out, both figuratively and literally. I felt clean and fresh and new, figuratively, but most definitely not literally. All my pipes were clear now, and the thought that flowed all the way through them was this: don't give up. If I'm going to aspire to one virtue above all others, it must be persistence and good diction. Even if most of these supposed change agents are twats, if there's even one non-twat among them, I'm going to be the one to find them, and then describe the encounter very clearly, with precise enunciation. You're out there, faces of virtue, and with God as my witness, I will find you, and I will interview you. But for now, thanks again to Susan Harrison for introducing me to Honey. Susan is a towering talent known for her many stage and screen appearances in improvisational blockbusters like Showstopper the Improvised Musical and television shows like DNN and Class Dismissed. I strongly encourage you to follow Susan on social media, either on Twitter at SueHarrison123 or on Instagram at Susan Yeehaw. That's Yeehaw, Y-E-E-H-A, like a cowboy. To keep up with her astonishingly prolific output of brilliant character and sketch comedy videos, not to mention her incredible facility for impressions and her many show-stealing appearances on other podcasts and video projects. One of her longer-running projects is the fantastically funny improvised podcast series Haley and Ruth, 2 stars, about two very different but equally obnoxious critics who take on a series of lofty review subjects such as the COVID-19 lockdowns, Brexit, and Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Her comedy partner in this and several other projects is none other than friend of the show, Gemma Arrowsmith. You may have heard from somewhere that Gemma has her own sketch show, Gemma Arrowsmith Sketched Out, currently airing on BBC Radio 4 on Thursday evenings, to rapturous listener response. You may also have heard that I, Tom Crowley, am in episodes 3 and 4 of this show, playing a whole host of characters, and that episode 3 came out the evening before this very Faces of Virtue. But what you might not have heard is that it is the law that you have to listen to it. Actual legal law. If you don't listen to at least episode 3 of Gemma Arrowsmith Sketched Out, you could be in serious law problems. Seriously. So get to it, for your own sake. On BBC Sounds, now. As well as all that, don't forget that to access the full, extra-long, uncut, great big version of this episode, not to mention the previous 3 great big Faces of Virtues and all the bonus material I've ever released, you need only sign up as a supporter of this show at patreon.com/crowleytime. And please do! Every new supporter means more I can afford to pay myself and the brilliant guests who kindly lend their time and talent to this show. So go to patreon.com/crowleytime and demonstrate your own virtue today. If you've enjoyed this latest run of Faces of Virtue, please do write in to crowleytimepodcast@gmail.com and tell me. Likewise, if you've absolutely despised it and you never want there to be any more, please do write into the same address and then stick your computer up your arse. Regular Crowley Time service will resume very soon, so be sure to stay subscribed to this podcast feed. And someday, before too long, I'll venture off the beaten path again to track down more Faces of Virtue! Virtue face, you've been living in a virtue place. I guess you never had a virtue guy. I guess your mama never told you why.